Hi, I'm Forrest Tanaka, and this is the setup video for an eBay product shoot. And the thing that I'm going to pretend to sell on eBay is one of these. This is called a Griffin PowerMate. It's a USB knob, which sounds kind of strange, but it's actually really cool. I'll show you how I use it. It's an easy volume control, so all I have to do to change the volume is turn it. And I can mute it just by tapping it, unmute it, and I have it set up to go to the next track if I just hold down the button. This got me wondering, for people who are actually selling these PowerMates on eBay, what sort of photos are they taking? Well, this one's clearly taken from the Griffin website, but as we look through to the homemade photos, well, they're not awful, but I'm going to try to take it to the next level to make something really attractive to sell on eBay. Now let's take a look at how I set up this shot. This is my setup for the Griffin PowerMate shoot, and you can see the Griffin in the middle with its blue LED turned on because it's connected to my laptop. Since the laptop's here, I'm also shooting tethered, and I'm using my Canon 40D right here, and you can see I've got this PowerMate surrounded by 3 strobes. This is the 430EX, and it is set to absolute minimum power, 1/64, and zoomed all the way in. It's connected to a Radio Popper Junior X system. I'm using a mono audio splitter to share this Radio Popper with, I'm going the wrong way, with this 580EX, the old version. This is set to 1/128 power, also zoomed in. Now we've got 3 strobes centering on this one object, all in close proximity. So you really need the power all the way down, because it's even at that level, I think I'm gonna need some help toning the light down a little. And the last one is the 285HV, also connected to its own Radio Popper Junior X receiver, and this is set to 1/16 power, which is the minimum. So I have this one in the back from the camera's point of view so that you get a bigger backlight. It's the most powerful flash even in its lowest setting. Okay, now I'm first going to take the shot without any diffusers at all, just to show you how bad that looks. And then we'll introduce the fancy diffusers I'll be using today. There we go. So as you can see, it looks totally ridiculous. My camera was set to ISO 100, absolute minimum there. I do have the aperture set to f2.8, which is the maximum, because I really want the least depth of field for this shot. But as you can tell, things are completely blown out and the lighting's really harsh. So now I'm going to introduce the diffusers. Okay, this is the new configuration. I've made a couple of changes, aside from these diffusers you see, is that one, I've moved the location of the 285HV to be more directly behind where I'm shooting, because the light was coming off from the right side and I didn't like that. And the other thing is I found that the depth of field was actually far too small, and so even though the corner of the knob was in focus, the bottom was already well out of focus. So I've changed the aperture to f8, and in some test shots I did, I found that was pretty nice. I forgot to mention what this whole thing is sitting on. This is actually a piece of silver paper that I just got from our craft store for, I think, like $1.50 US. Oops. And, well, that's a good segue to discussing these diffusers. This is an idea from David Hobby of Strobist fame, and it's just a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper that I bent along the edges and put in front of the strobes. Another one here, and that one. And that's all. That's the diffusers. And so that'll cut down the light a lot, and I found it did cut it down quite a lot in my test shots. So anyway, I'm going to take another shot here and see how that goes. Okay, the things that are bothering me right now, although this looks much nicer, the 285 HV is just way too strong, so I'm going to pump up the power of the two Canon flashes. And also this word Griffin is being blotted out by the reflection of the strobe on the left, so I'm going to move that strobe to try to get those words to show up. Otherwise, I think we're looking good, except for the blue glow, which I'll address a little later. So I've made these changes. I've raised the level of the 285 HV and put it way far away, and so hopefully that'll help reduce its power and make it less glary over there. And the rest stays the same. I'm pretty happy with that. No dark corners anymore, and it's well exposed. I can see the words, and the cable goes off out of the depth of field. Only problem is I can't see the blue glow, so we'll fix that next. Now, the reason we're not getting that glow in the photo is simply because our shutter speed's too quick, and this glow is very dim compared to the power of the strobes. So now we have to make our shutter speed long so that we'll get the glow, and for that I put the camera on a tripod, this Manfrotto tripod, so I can, and I added a remote shutter release so that I can have the camera steady during that long exposure. So I'm first going to try it without the strobes to get the level of glow the way I want. And for this, I'm going to have to turn off all the house lights. So now I've taken the same shot, same angle, everything, except I've used a 1/8 of a second shutter speed in total darkness. So now I have this nice glow. Now let's put everything together. So what I'm going to do is keep the shutter speed set to 1/8 of a second to get us that glow, but I'm going to add the strobes back. Now it won't change the overall exposure because the strobes only last, probably at this level, probably 1/10,000th of a second. So the long shutter speed won't make any difference with the overall exposure. It'll just help us get this nice glow. And there we have it. And I'll enhance it in post to make a nice brighter or bluer glow, and should be done. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope that was understandable and useful. And once again, thanks so much for all of you who left comments on my past videos. And I'm glad to hear that these are useful, and hope to be able to keep on doing them. Next week we're going to try to use one of these, a studio strobe, for the very first time. So hopefully that'll work out, and I'll show you what I did to make it work, as long as I did get it to work. So we'll see you next time.